There we go. And we're live. Good morning, Tony Mercado. As
Good.
my hair stands up, gives me a couple of vertical inches.
Do you know who Alfalfa is? You remember that? Okay.
Yeah,
That might be a good one to do. Like, remember the dogs? I think it was Spike, the
With
dog that had, the black eye. That might be a good mascot. Dave Kittle is here in the house.
How do we get talking about Alfalfa? How's that the mascot?
Jimmy has a little piece of hair sticking out. Reminded me of Alfalfa, and then I remembered that we were talking about an AI animal mascot for my marketing, and so. All right, let's jump into kind of a big topic. So yesterday I was in the car for a long time. I was listening to all the experts talk about, where AI is going, what it does really well, what it doesn't do well. And it got me thinking about physical therapy. So some of the topics that I want to cover today with you guys. One is, in a world where AI does better evaluation and plan of care planning, I want to talk about humans doing what humans do best. And I think it's what physical therapists want to do, right? We'll talk about that. I want to talk about what would an EMR look like that wasn't built on old architecture. So like, what if we had an AI first EMR, which I know there are some out there and I've talked to them, but then even a step further, like what if a marketing expert, what if somebody with a brain for marketing said, I'm going to develop an EMR. The whole thing is built on marketing first, documentation second. Or what if Amazon or Walmart or a retail giant like that said, we're going to build an EMR with the intention of sales being the primary function of this software. We've got a whole bunch of topics like this. So I'll let you guys decide where you want to kick off.
All right. So do you want to just jump back and forth? If we have rules, it's not going to work well with my brain. So let's go with the marketing one. When you asked this question yesterday, I was thinking about this and I was like, man, so many great moments happen in clinical practice and treatment that by the time you sit down and the patient's left and you're done documenting and you've seen 9 more patients, you don't remember that anymore. So remember that button, push it?
Tell me again. I do remember.
It was a big red button that gyms would put at their pickleball courts. Essentially, it was just a marker. Like the cameras are running all the time, but when a crazy play would happen, someone would go and push it to say, mark this. Later on when you're going through footage, once a week when you go through footage, come to all these moments. I kind of feel like there needs to be that moment there. So there needs to be an easy way for a clinician to have a quote or push a button and be like, say that again, or be able to record something and have it somehow be, it can't be a separate app. And it shouldn't be a separate app because this is driving care, right? Of course, everything, the regulations, HIPAA, the patient understands what's going on. But if they say something or do something funny, amazing, memorable, insightful, inspiring, why are we sharing that? So I think a marketer would make that easy and simple and give it some guidelines and some railings on this is what's good, right? These are some examples. If you feel that, this is how you siphon that to me as the person who'll put that out.
I want to hear what Dave says, but while he does, Jimmy, can you pull up my business Facebook page?
Yeah.
Because there are some videos. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so my thought, I think this can be quick because my thoughts on this is like all the EMR, like Clinician and all the legacy ones before Raintree and TheraOffice and all the ones that have been around forever. There is a reason why they're not made by marketers, because their whole objective was more on the operations side, and all because of all the HIPAA and the healthcare payment claims reimbursement process with so much regulation and guidelines and all that. And so that is a whole mouthful in itself to create a piece of software to satisfy, with integrating faxes and integrating all the processes. Like that's why the old EMRs didn't even have like text and email notifications, and you used to have to use like a third-party widget or app or whatever. Now, of course, all the EMRs have, auto text and emails of appointment reminders and some marketing plugins for reactivating previous patients and all that. But I don't know, when did they start being built? Wasn't even that long ago. Like WebPT, I think was founded in like 2006 or 7 or 8, something like that. Like not that long ago. and Clinician, I think maybe was around, the early 2000s and some of those other ones. And so they were all built around like, okay, how can we go from paper charts to electronic?
And that's all
And
they did.
that's all they did. And it was
Right.
to satisfy all of the guidelines around billing insurance, coding, billing, sending the claims out. And that was the main function. Tony, I love this idea because he's always thinking outside of the box, but you're coming at it from a completely different realm, a completely different universe coming from the marketing angle. And I mean, I think if anything, maybe Jane App or some of the other newer ones, maybe Athelis, are kind of closer to utilizing current marketing, but that's just how it was. That's just why the original ones were built that way.
I don't think any of them will change until people start to demand it. And I don't think they'll demand it because they're looking at EMRs to solve a problem. Dan has a good point. He thinks the future name badges or name tags will have a camera and a mic. I mean, how brilliant would that be, right? Like they're just Bluetooth. The minute you walk into the building, now it Bluetooths to your computer. And this way, hardware meets software. This way, like you always have great audio. Why? Because you're walking around with a microphone. I mean, AI scribes, a lot of them will work really well just ambiently, like near the laptop, near the cell phone. But like, why wouldn't you be able to just have what do these mics cost now? $20? Like there's really good mics. I mean, you can buy a $300 mic, but you can buy a $20 mic that works really well. So that's a good point. Like, how do you mic these people up? I mean, show Tony. We've seen the videos of your patients. They don't like it. They love it. Like They love it. Like you're making them the stars. Isn't that the center of the ICF model? The patient is the star. Like everything's about them. Make everything about them then.
So I intentionally use the word old architecture because I'm not a tech guy. I talk to enough of the EMR companies, though. I know they're facing resistance by clinicians first. Like every time I've said to an EMR company, hey, why don't you guys just do this or automate that? They're like, therapists refuse to do it. Therapists won't let us do it. Like, I get it. They're like us trying to change, habits. And I also think, like you guys said, the EMR designers, developers, founders, it's like, okay, I'm a landlord. Imagine a landlord opening a restaurant. The landlord is thinking, I'm going to rent this table. I'm going to rent this chair. The food is a secondary,
Right.
kind of amenity. Whereas a chef opening a restaurant, it's all about the food. Right. Whereas a business owner opening a restaurant, it's all about the experience and monetizing the experience. So however you come to solve the problem, whatever your baggage is, you're going to put those biases on it. I just think it's such a fun experiment. And the reason why this is top of mind for me is, obviously AI is everywhere. Talking to Joseph Lowe, Pure PT, I'm like, we need to grease the wheels to make purchasing these products 1,000 times easier. I go to Amazon, I go anywhere, I can click a button and my credit card's already there, everything is there. How do I make it that easy for a patient to not just purchase a product, to pay a copay? Like, look, person's in my clinic, like, why is the copay not automatic, done on the phone? We talked about the oil change experience that I had at the Toyota dealership. Push a button, choose what I want. It sends me the bill and it's paid. That is a major friction point that no EMRs that I'm aware of does anything good with. So go ahead.
I was going to say, like, Steve Jobs is a notorious asshole, right? Like he was said to have, and I love this phrase, he was said to have what was called a reality distortion field. He would have the top engineers in the world be like, that is impossible. And he's like, great, you have until month's end to figure it out. I don't know if there's someone like that, or if people are just vying for so much market share that Steve didn't care about the customer. He's like, they don't know what they want until I give it to them. Like he had that cocky attitude. When they used to change phone chargers all the time, or like, the plugs, the only way they did that was they're like, we're discontinuing the other one. There's no option. There's no dongle. Nothing's going to work. So I think the only way this thing happens is everything becomes centralized. When I was still in radio, when digital, I used to get CDs. They used to time the delivery of CDs, compact discs, in the mail to radio stations and put a date. And like, you'd have to sign saying, I'm not going to play the song until noon on this date. And you just trust each other, right? Fast forward a bunch of years, every record company had their own like secure version of Napster, where you had to have a login and then someone was just finally like, I'm just going to create one and you all pay me. And this way you don't have to worry about your own servers. And that was adopted. And then of course you could just send an MP3 and it wasn't that big of a deal and you could time that. But what I'm getting at is I don't see the progression of these things because they're all progressing individually. It's just they're trying to out mediocre each other right now. They're trying to deliver what the client wants, right? And that's a mistake because they actually are giving them what they don't even know they need.
Two famous Henry Ford quotes is, I know he said you can have any color as long as it's black.
Right.
But there was
because
one,
that was the cheapest paint color back then.
Okay. Yeah. There was another one. Wasn't he the one that said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would want faster horses.
Yep.
Right?
I don't know if he said that one, but the idea was progress. That's a great quote. I love this one. But I told you, I'm good at quotes, bad at who said them. If you ask people, 300 years ago what they wanted faster horses and brighter candles. They can't imagine cars and electricity. Neither can I, unless you're like, I'm just going to make it. I was watching a clip on, did you ever see Idiocracy?
No.
It's essentially just like a really dumb tongue-in-cheek movie, but the conversation was around. It was like the near future, how we're just dumbing everything down. So everybody in America is like the dumbest person on the planet. So the designer for the clothing for that movie, the costumes, was like, I need the dumbest version of shoes. What's the dumbest version of shoes that people will think is good in the future? And
Flip-flops.
This is what'd you say?
Flip-flops.
Close. They were like, it needs to be dumb, but God forbid this thing can't actually go off. It was Crocs. He picked Crocs. And now we're walking around in Crocs. This costume designer must be out of mind.
Not we. Some people. Not us.
Some people. I've never owned Crocs. I do own but that's the point, is like, it's dumb until everybody does it. It's dumb until it works. It's stupid. It's ridiculous until it works.
Here, speaking about dumb, we should not talk about EMRs unless they want to sponsor us. Let's jump over to Tony's topic. If AI will be better at diagnosing and developing treatment plans, this could free up.
I want to let's do the sale. It was designed by Walmart now. If an EMR
Walmart
was designed by Walmart.
Okay, go ahead.
Like you have an exercise library in an EMR now. You can build a home exercise plan, email it, text it, right? Products. Like if you need something, why are you opening a second tab? Why are you opening a second tab? And some people are going to come for us and go, well, what's to stop people from just like becoming salespeople? Nothing right now. One tab is standing between you and selling a bunch of stuff that the patient doesn't need. Oh, and the fact that like maybe they have half a brain and can see they don't need it, or your conscience, or they're an idiot and you're a jerk and then they're buying it anyway. So nothing is standing between that happening now. But what's standing between people who know what the patient needs and a seamless way to get them that good thing? One tab. Remove the tab, put it in the system, text it to them, and then why not get credit for it? That's not the evil part.
Okay, so from my perspective, what I'd be looking at is, I'm sure you guys have your credit card information saved into Amazon, right? On the Amazon website. So it's like, and I know there are a lot of clinics that already have credit cards stored on file. There are some compliance issues and security issues that are brought up, but nonetheless, if it can be done for Amazon correctly, it can be done in healthcare correctly. But if I go and look at a product on an Amazon page, what do I see? Other recommended products, other services, other things that buyer purchased, other buyers might also want to purchase. Like when I'm still out there, yes, I have email automation that sends reminders and sends these things, but like, why isn't my EMR the hub of my business? Why isn't a consumer intentionally going to the EMR, looking at their appointments, make the EMR making recommendations on other services that we deliver? Hey, did you know that people who have low back pain might also want a TENS unit, and making a recommendation to purchase the TENS unit right there through the EMR? Why isn't it a better point of sale system? Why isn't it having these automated emails and communications that, even to the point, I was thinking about this going in, I guarantee if I created a fake schedule, because HIPAA privacy, took a picture of a fake schedule, congested a section of the schedule, and asked ChatGPT, how can I fix this? I bet ChatGPT right now would make recommendations on what to do. Why isn't the EMR system automating that kind of stuff so that even if I set up the guidelines to say, hey, I want to avoid having more than 2 people in a spot at a certain time. If you see openings, go ahead and automatically generate a preferably a voice call, automated voice call, but even a text. Just, hey, send a text. John, we've got an opening at 2 o'clock. Right now you're scheduled at 10 o'clock. I'm not canceling your 10 o'clock, but if you'd rather have, this or that, would you like the 2 o'clock appointment? That is so simple, and it's available in other businesses. Why don't we have it?
Yeah, I saw this app. Ads came up a bunch of times. It's called Motion. It does a bunch of stuff, but yeah, it's exactly what Tony is saying. Why can't you? No reason you can't. I mean, a big part in radio was actually making things random. Random's actually kind of hard, right? Like taking into consideration, hey, we play this band every day at 3 o'clock, or we played this song the same hour of every day because people are cyclical. Why can't you use it based on if-then statements? Like if this person's insurance and this type of patient and this clinician, oh my God, this was the worst. If a clinician has had 2 back-to-back evals, don't make the third thing another eval. Like don't. Or this person's an eval machine. That person's okay to do that. It's if-then. This is a perfect thing for AI to be doing and decluttering and not have to think about. Well, think about it a lot in the beginning and then think about it less and then have it not be good and become great over time.
I think the recommended products, I think the recommended services, we know PTs. Somebody I think it was Joey Albritton said something about PTs and sales. I'm the first one to say I'm terrible at selling. I hate selling. I hate upselling. But if it could be automated and I could get a recommended product or service list that goes out.
But it's more powerful if the therapist recommends it verbally in person, Tony, like you and I. And then the system could also recommend it. But if it's just an automated push notification or an email or whatever from the EMR, it's not going to be as powerful. It's not going to be as effective for behavior change and all that.
Oh, 100% agreed. I think it should suggest to the therapist. I 100% agree with that. Is that what you were picturing? Like it suggested to you, right, Tony? And then you suggest.
No, I'm saying suggested to the client.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it, Jimmy. He does not want to do it. He doesn't want to do the pitching the sell.
I agree with Dave on that one.
Dave's recommendation is absolutely the best.
Wait.
It doesn't happen in 90% of the clinics. Most working W-2 therapists do not want to do what you are saying. They feel guilty. They feel embarrassed. They feel awkward. So better than nothing at all is, okay, yes, perfect scenario. Dave's amazing. He's a clinician. He recommends it to the patient. Then the patient gets a follow-up message saying, hey, these are recommended services. Next best scenario is the EMR auto generates the confirmation already. Send recommended services along with that because Dave didn't want to say it or Charlie or whoever.
That feels spammy. Like I got excited.
But it works. Like I was just getting gas yesterday.
Yeah.
The gas pump itself recommended a car wash, recommended like a Big Gulp or something, recommended 3 or 4 things for me to buy while I'm pumping gas.
Wait. So hold on.
Slam him, Jimmy. Come back. Come on.
There's a fine line.
Tell him how it's different.
There's a fine line. Did it recommend a Big Gulp or did it play an ad for a Big Gulp? Like, how did it know you were thirsty or you like cherry?
Just assume.
What I'm getting at is, see, now I'm going to go on the side of the conservative therapist, like the bleeding heart therapist, which is, let me give an example. When I finally, when I was in my student rotation, I finally got a patient who was actually a triathlete and was having pain. I was like, have you ever considered this bike seat? And they're like, I have no idea what bike seat you're talking about. I was like, I sort of geeked out. I was like, oh my gosh, let me find this bike seat because I think if it's shaped and da-da-da-da-da. So I'm going more for I think the therapist would be more excited if they were like, I am going to find a solution or part of a solution for the problem. I think it recommends a car wash because you were like, you own a car and it's outside. Like, that's not really a recommendation. That's an upsell. That's where it would be like, hey, it looks like you like to come at 1 o'clock. Would you like to come at noon? That's an extra $25. That's a blind upsell. So I think with AI, you can get really custom. And if that clinical judgment says that this product is actually right for you, I think those are 2 different things. I would separate them as 2 different things. I think they're both fine.
Both of them are capable. We're capable of doing both. We should be able to do both. Before we jump to what Dave had suggested, can you Jimmy, you talked about a red button, right?
Yeah.
We all have it. We all have that red button. Pull up my Facebook page.
Okay.
The red button is your iPhone.
Yeah, guys, come on.
But friction points, man. Friction points. I'm telling you,
So-
we are big dumb animals.
So once again, while Jimmy's doing that, everybody who comes to my clinic, everybody signs a media release. Everybody is informed. We're not hiding a camera in the corner. We don't even have to show any of the videos, but if you scroll down, it doesn't matter. Just through the post, you can go through the posts. I still don't know Facebook. So this is a product video, right? I'm promoting a stretch strap, but keep going down. By the way, I'm getting 15% commission on that stretch strap. So here's a perfect example. This was a patient yesterday who came to my clinic. She just went to the orthopedic. The orthopedic was trying to pull these sutures out. They weren't coming out. I knew this was a conversation we were going to have. I pushed the red button. Now, I did push the red button before we started the conversation, but immediately I pulled it out and we had this conversation about these sutures sticking out. Scroll down if you can. I don't know if we're going to see view counts or anything. It doesn't look like it says it, but it's thousands of views pretty quickly on that. Keep going. This guy right here, one of my favorite guys, he drives a motorized wheelchair to therapy when he comes. He's showing me his home program. He's showing me what he does every day. I knew he was going to do it. I pushed the red button. He's graduating. That's his discharge. He's showing me getting down, getting up. Point being, like Jimmy said, you get all the ducks in a row. You get your HIPAA compliant media releases. You get everything you need. Patients are creating media constantly. All you have to do is push the button. This is my home exercise program. I was showing her what to do. This is a silly AI before I understood how to prompt it and make this weird AI generated video.
Well, going hard on the Bengals there, the Reds in the background.
I said, make it Cincinnati specific.
This
was yesterday and the day before. All I did was get people on the ground. Let me see you get down. Let me see you get up. Let me show you one more quickie. Keep going down. Keep going. The next one. This guy right here, this is Dale. He's had hundreds of thousands of views on my channels and stuff. If you notice, we started that video with him already on the ground. That's my wife right next to him. My wife, freaked out when she heard me tell Dale to get on the ground because I wasn't anywhere near him. He pretty much just did a head dive down to the ground. You could take the PT out of the clinic, but you can't take So anyway, point being, we all have that red button. That red button.
Yes, agreed. And we could have been using this for years because social media has been around for a gajillion years. Phones have been around just as easy. My thing is, you need to build a path because look at it this way. A clinician might not you might not want every clinician in your company to have access to your Facebook page, right? So there needs to be a way to funnel it. So it's got to be simple and easy and built into the workflow, in my opinion. I agree with you. Yeah. If it were that easy, people would already be doing it. Although culture changes and then changes action. Now that people see Tony do it, 10 people might do it. And when 10 people do it, 100 people might do it. Don't disagree. This goes along the lines of the document, not create.
Quick sidebar, the LinkedIn live comments are en fuego. We got comments coming in from Dan Vapney, Scott Embry, David Reuven. By the way, if you want to pull one of these up, Jimmy, David Reuven commented live, Tony is the real MVP. And I said, correct. I've been saying it for 10 years. So shout out to Tony Maritato and David Reuven.
Like this isn't that far off, right? Scott.
I probably said David's name incorrectly. Go ahead.
Rowan. I would like to see an EMR generate complete documentation, including billing, just from video and audio. It's not that far. I mean, the AI scribes are doing it mostly from audio. I tell people when I demo the scribe, it's like, I just need you to be a verbal processor. Like, what does that mean? I'm like, pretend you have a student with you who's never seen this before. So say those things out loud, and then you don't need to go back and write them. This is for you, but act as if there is a third person, a scribe there for you because they can't see yet. It's computer vision is coming. I mean, it's here.
Also really quick, because Scott Embry was saying if there was that the thing that Dan Vapney said earlier in the comments of like if there was the name badge that collected audio and video that then you could use for marketing and also went into the medical record amazingly seamlessly for documentation, then Scott Embry said that would, I think, what did he say? It would change the behavior of physical therapists. And then I asked, like, that would, I mean, if they were on video all the time, like, wouldn't that change their behavior for the better?
Yes.
And body cams.
He said yes or no, but yeah, it's like body cams. Exactly. So like it's things still could happen because people might get numb and therapists might forget about it after 3 months or a year or whatever.
They will.
Look, everybody was so excited about that. I forget what it was. Whoever went to jail, that private practice for double booking and all that stuff that they were doing. Shine a light in the corner and the rats are going to scatter, right? Like, bring this out publicly. You guys see what happens in my clinic. I can't hide anything. There's nothing fake that's there when there's a camera shining and you see the interactions going on. Real quick, David, who Dave Kittle incorrectly quoted, David from SME, he made a comment on Don's video. I captured that moment. I knew that was coming. He made a video saying Don needs an agent for what's the college where they pay you for a college likeness?
Oh, NIL.
NIL, yeah.
Is like Don needs an NIL agent. I showed that to Don. He cracked up. He had such a big laugh. But this goes back to, what we've talked about, which is, look, we could take the real people in our clinic. We could turn them into celebrities. Yeah, I would love to turn therapists into celebrities. But if we can't turn a therapist, we have access to more people, more patients. Let's make them the celebrity. Let's congratulate them for coming to the clinic, like putting the work in. Taking that time out of their busy schedule at home, which, generally is not filled with much productive work, and show and highlight what they're willing to do to come to the clinic. These are things that change not just their lives, but changes the lives of the other people sitting at home thinking, what do I do in the next 10 years? I can't get out of a chair now. What's it going to be like 15 years from now?
I'm surprised that either of you ever said this before about making the patient the star on video, because it's kind of like and this is something I'm sure you guys both know, but like the Joseph Campbell book, The Hero's Journey, like having the client, the patient, the customer, the consumer as the hero and putting them and making them like a celebrity. I mean, ladies and gentlemen watching from around the nation, around the world, this one thing could improve your cancel no-show rate, because if someone is being recorded like Tony's patient and they're always on, and maybe you do the video clips and then eventually maybe you do like the live stuff like this, don't you think more people are going to never miss their visits? They're going to make sure that they are coming to your office or completing your home visits and not canceling and not dropping off.
It's why I was
that could be a game changer.
Yeah, it's more likely why you're likely to show up for a group workout when you're training for a triathlon. There's a thing 6 months from now, 7 months from now that I need to be in shape for it. I don't want to look bad. And the mini steps to do that is every Saturday we do, 2 hours, and people would call each other out. Where were you today? Where were you today? Oh, I had to go, for work. But you better be there next week. And
what isn't that accountability?
Yes.
If I'm missing that group workout. And the word accountability, I've been saying it on here for months, if not years, on the show about the difference between the in-person stuff and the telehealth virtual stuff is that accountability. That's what will make someone put their clothes on, brush their teeth, get ready in the morning, come to your office, get ready for your physical therapy appointment.
Anyway, not necessarily. I think it's more relationship based. I trained for a marathon back in the day with a buddy of mine who was in New York when I was in Pennsylvania. We were virtual, but we could see how many miles each of us were doing on our watches. And it really was this thing where it was like, you better show up a marathon. I'm not slowing down for you. So I needed to make sure I was fast enough to keep up with my friend, and he was probably doing the same thing for me. So we pushed. And most of the time, the accountability was not to the leader. It wasn't to the person. It wasn't to the like we always met at a bike shop. It was to the other people, the people you suffered with. What does PT typically lack? Colleagues, friends, compatriots, people going through the same thing at the same time. That authority figure, the PT saying you should do this, don't do that, make sure you do this, that's effective when they're in front of you short term. But people who are like me, we have a bond, right? I mean, they talked about this in war movies. They talked about how everybody showed up on set for Saving Private Ryan for 2 weeks and slept in tents and ate crap and had to do PT. And then Matt Damon showed up a day before they started shooting and lived in a hotel. And they wanted resentment of the cast, these trained actors, to look at Matt Damon because they were supposed to be resentful of him. So this is psychology, like use it. So Tony said before, he tries to pair people up who are similar at times of day, if possible. That's not an accident.
Yeah. So, and to Dave's point, like you highlight the person, there's so many good things that come out of that. Even just the fact that, like, I'm always surprised to see who Dave's clients are, because I'm sure a lot of us have in our mind, man, somebody's paying $250 to $500 a session. Like, what does this person look like? You know, some people, I guarantee people watching this right now probably expect that person to have horns and a tail. But the reality is these are normal people. You know, they're young professionals. They're somebody's grandfather. Like the video of your guy talking to somebody who works too hard and does too much, and part of the responsibility of the therapist is kind of manage how much he does because he's so motivated. Like, those are the things that resonate with like-minded people, and that's who you want in your business. My people see their neighbors.
I think the best thing for Dave would be doing so. Let's sneak a page out of I forget what page, what account it is. There's this like 19, 21-year-old kid who just goes around to people who are driving awesome cars.
Yeah.
And like stops them like in traffic or while they're getting out. It's like, what do you do for a living? That's all he asks.
The School of Hard Knocks, the kid with the School of Hard Knocks podcast. Yeah. I mean, there's multiple accounts doing this.
Right. Or how did you earn your money, or what did you do? People are super curious. I know that they're boring, they're bad questions. Like, where are you from? What do you do? But they're intros, like they're human interest pieces. Can you turn your patients into human interest pieces? Because now I'm like, yeah, I'm a fit there. Dave wants to weed people out faster than he wants to weed people in. If you're going to come and not pay, or you're going to come once and not show up again, Dave's probably like, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. You probably want to weed out more than you want to weed in. Dave is not rolling out a red carpet for people who are not good fits.
So when I was more in Dave's world, I was in Sarasota, Florida on Siesta Key, just started. We were not a physical therapy clinic. We were all personal training, high net worth individuals. I remember thinking to myself as a young professional, like, one of the most valuable things I'm getting access to is one-on-one time. Okay, I'm training this person, but I'm also getting access to like 60 years of success and knowledge. And they're telling me about things that I would never have otherwise heard about in business. And we were having this back and forth conversation. These were individuals. I remember one of my training clients owned a Land Rover dealership. Another one owned a BMW dealership. Another one owned a major hotel, like a Holiday Inn, and a Denny's, and then sold out to Ritz-Carlton. Like, these are rooms I could have never gotten into as a 25, 30-year-old. But as a personal trainer training these clients, I had access to that. So now, like Jimmy said, you look at where Dave is uniquely positioned and you say, man, where is the value in this? And a lot of these adults are happy to share their stories. You know, you let them know, hey, young people need to hear these stories, because right now we're in a little bit of a crisis. Everybody loves a good crisis. But if Dave could access those stories and the clients are willing to share those stories, how did you come to this country legally? How did you start your business from nothing? How did you grow? And how did you make these decisions? Huge value. And in the process, of course, that attracts more like-minded individuals to Dave's business, because they see that he's working with these other successful entrepreneurs at different stages. All right.
Right on.
Let's go.
What do you go to next, Dave?
Yeah. So let me pull it back up. AI, if AI, and this is Tony's proposed topic, if AI will be better at diagnosing and developing treatment plans that could free up therapists to deliver the hands-on care without being licensed, or individuals to deliver hands-on care without being licensed. And Tony said that he's got a friend who had no healthcare background, created a non-medical companion service at a rate of $40 an hour, and she is hiring like crazy. I'm not sure how. So AI, Tony, is
Okay.
creating some treatment plans for these folks, and it's non-medical, non-rehab, non-licensed.
So there's layers to this onion, but basically, I think you've made it clear, you, Dave Kittle, therapists want what we're calling hands-on. Now, I was told that hands-on doesn't have to be massage, that hands-on could be, direct supervision, personal training, exercise, like you're cueing and touching and all of those things. But point being, my understanding is if somebody goes to physical therapy school, they want to be the person who delivers the service. I'm going to say, if we compartmentalize this just a little bit, we could say, okay, there's aspects of what we do that require the brain, right? The evaluation, developing the plan of care, establishing patient-centric goals. Then there's parts of this that require the body. Okay, so I'm going to be there and I'm going to socialize and I'm going to make the treatment fun, and we're going to, either maybe I do manual things or I cue you manually or whatever. I believe AI will, if not already is, better at processing information, better at analytics, better at remembering the 2 million cases that were fed into it of, patient histories. So I think we're going to see a world within our lifetimes that AI does a better job at choosing a treatment diagnosis. AI does a better job at comparing the patient report, the subjective findings, the objective findings, and creating a plan of care specific to that patient's case. So what that does, it could threaten you as a therapist. I don't care. It really frees you to put your mental energy into saying, okay, how do I make this the best patient care experience? How do I have the most joy and bring the most satisfaction to the human sitting in front of me as a human myself? If we get to that point, we don't need licensure anymore. Like there's no value in licensure. And as insurance companies increase what patients are paying anyway, we have a world where maybe one licensed therapist, if we're still under the Practice Act, one licensed therapist with AI handles all of that stuff. We see that in Hinge Health. We see that in Sword. We see one therapist who manages hundreds of patient cases. But then the human actually delivers the service. And so that human doesn't need to be a physical therapist if it's not being billed to insurance. If there's no financial incentive to bill insurance anymore, we eliminate all of the authorizations, all of the hoops to jump through, a lot of the compliance and regulation costs and burden. And now we bring the cost of care down. We increase profitability. What we need, though, and I see this as a future for young people who maybe don't want to go into a doctorate of physical therapy. They don't want to wait 7 years and accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. They just want to treat people. They want to help people. They want to make people feel better, and they want to do it correctly. Somebody like Dave or Tony or Jimmy or whoever builds a school, creates a program that trains these individuals to work as unlicensed professionals, to do things within the law, within the regulations that they are allowed to do for patients or clients paying out of pocket. Personal trainers, yoga instructors, licensed massage therapists, they're already doing it anyway, right? So let's embrace this instead of seeing it as a threat, and let's be the people who teach those programs. Universities aren't doing it. We can do it cheaper anyway, and we can do it more effectively. That's the future.
The reason people won't like this is they feel like they've earned a doctorate, and now I can do something that no one can. This is the person akin to saying I'm a chef and no one can do what I do. Only I can deliver what I can deliver, and you have to pay this, versus being an operator. Like, you've done this before. Like, what if you ran your PT clinic like a McDonald's? Well, that's the bottom of the barrel. Why are they so is everybody stupid? Is that many people? Are they selling 1 million burgers or 1 million Big Macs a day because everyone's stupid? Or is that actually what they want and need at that time? So are you an operator? Are you someone who's going to deliver a service streamlined at cost? Or are you going to be a chef and everything's customized? And let's be honest, most of the stuff that we think is really specific and customized isn't. And we've got the research to prove it.
So with the Tony, this would be like body workers or unlicensed therapy. So like what would be like the name of this? You're talking about a school. If we're creating a hypothetical school, this is you know, care therapy, but then we're gonna get, you know, sued by the APTA better not even care about it, because if they didn't care about the lifetime gym situation with the trainers being called DPTs, dynamic personal trainers, or whatever the ridiculous thing is, then they should not come after us if we create some unlicensed therapy, non-therapy schooling for, what would they be, like body workers, even though I think that doesn't have a good connotation. Care companion, which is kind of, care companion is like an unlicensed thing.
Yep,
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're basically, and I think there would be, you know, schools created for people that want to go into just exercise focused programs, schools created for people who, you know, we've got Stretchology and all of the stretch labs, right? They're not physical therapists. They're not licensed by the state. They're not professionals that got their DPT. So you can have different segments of this, just like undergrad has different degrees. My thing would be the therapist who's still a licensed therapist makes the determination. All right, is this patient appropriate for this next level, or do they need something else? Right? I'm not wiping out physical therapy.
Yeah, there needs to be a human that say like, this is a red flag that stops the process. Someone's got to be responsible, right? Someone's got to be this person who either says yes or no. Keep going.
So you make the determination. Now, the client has free will. They can say, no, I don't want, you know, John to be my trainer. I want to work with Dave because Dave still does have the credentials. It's the person who says, no, I don't want to buy the Honda. I want to buy the Mercedes. That's fine. They both have four wheels and can get you from point A to point B. It's your discretion. My point is the opportunity for us as licensed therapists right now is to build the educational platform, because what do we see? We see young people who don't want to get a DPT because it's too expensive and it doesn't pay enough. But there are so many of those young people who would be amazing at working with clients, have the social skills, have the brain power, have the understanding. They just need another path. Let's create that other path. Let's build these programs.
I think the biggest challenge for this is, I think, and maybe there's different versions of patients and clients and customers out there, but like my type of client is like, where did you go to school? We're looking for physical therapy. And that's one of the many reasons why they're going to pay out of pocket. Then you have the client like Tony, where they're insurance minded or insurance focused, and they want in-network and Medicare and all that. And they work with Tony because he's amazing, but then also there's like minimal costs and you accept their insurance. Of course, across the country, there might be some other third, you know, avatar type client that like is in the middle, that like doesn't care about insurance, but doesn't want like the premium component. But what you're talking about, unlicensed, that means you cannot bill their insurance. So that means they're paying out of pocket. And I think most of the time, these types of clients across the country, unless you're in like a big metro, you got a good job or whatever, I think a lot of folks are cost conscious about paying out of pocket for this if it would be an unlicensed person, in my opinion.
Is this so? Sounds like this is what Tony was talking about 6 months ago, which is, why aren't we using PTAs more? Because they're cost effective. And so the PT would be the quarterback and the PTA is the wide receiver, the running back, the tight end. They're the ones that actually put it in the end zone. But it starts with the quarterback who calls the call and decides where things go, right? It's like you're skipping that, but you're sort of removing PTAs. This person doesn't need to be licensed, because a person with a license starting the play. Here's the thing. I think in the beginning, Dave, it might be like that, where people are paying cash, or like, I want to know where you went to school. What are you doing? What are you doing? But we go to some of the most expensive restaurants in the country because this person's the chef, but we have no idea if they're the one actually touching the food. They're the one who designed the menu, right? They're the ones who are saying this has too much salt, back it down, redo that. Like, they're quarterbacking it. Why aren't we taking lessons from this? Is it because we're stuck in a model? Like, we're stuck in the past?
And the other part is, to Dave's point, Dave has the consumer who wants the Mercedes. They're happy to pay for the Mercedes.
Yep.
That's what they're looking for. Yeah. John, who's in the comments, said one-on-one Medicare is about $82 for 4 units. Stretch Lab is $85 for a session. You know, like, my thing would be, so let's use a case study. I've got patients out there in the clinic right now. They some had surgery, some did not. Many are on a Medicare Advantage plan. Many have a $40 per visit, which is about the median. Some are higher, some are 50, 60, up to 70, some are lower, but $40 per session. They get a referral for 18 sessions. I'm not going to do the math it's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. Could I take an 18 visit prescribed plan of care, prescribed by a doctor, not a physical therapist? Can I deliver more value than what 18 copays would cost? And in that process, can I do it without a licensed person? 100%. All day long, I could do something.
But the 18 visits is not like take these 18 pills and it's prescribed. That's like a suggestion. Then the physical therapist could say, you only need 6, you only need 10 visits, or the patient loves your experience and they stay for 40 visits if it's covered. I don't know.
I'm going to say to the consumer walking in the door,
they think they go 40 times 18. Okay.
Yes. And so they're looking at this as 40 times 18, that's going to cost me whatever, $600, $800. What are my options? I could say, look, we can do this, and I can have a physical therapist follow you around and count your reps. Absolutely. Or I also believe, based on my clinical evaluation, you don't need this. To Dave's point, let's still do 12 weeks, but let's do it as part of this program. It's going to cost you $200, and it's going to be, at 10 o'clock, it's going to be focused on this. These are the objectives. This is what's laid out. Each session is already laid out for you. Like it's a recipe. It's perfect. And, you're going to have professionals all around you who are going to make sure you're doing it right. So you have the choice. You can do it like this. You can do it like that. Which do you prefer? Where I'm going, I don't want to lose sight. I am saying there's an opportunity for people like us to create these training programs to train young individuals who are never going to go. Maybe 20 years ago, they would have gone to PT school. Right. Now they are not going to go to PT school. What are they going to do? We're going to completely lose them as a resource within the PT profession. Let's create a training program, a school, an education, a certification, whatever you want to do, that brings these people in and gives them a place within the profession.
Wild. I never thought we were going to get to this point on today's show based off of the initial topics that we outlined.
All right. We're coming to the top of the hour. What else? Any quick ones we can hit? I saw an article published by, I don't know if it was APTA, about the future summit that Jimmy went to. I haven't heard enough buzz about it, but it was a good article. They just talked about, I think they had I can't think of his first name. We interviewed him, the guy, one of the founders from Prediction Health. Oh, Pedro. Pedro was up there. I was scanning the photos to see if Jimmy was anywhere up there. Like, how you have people that are still watching, how do we have somebody like Jimmy still in the profession that isn't the main spokesperson for like all APTA events, who isn't the face of
they had the opportunity. They had Jimmy there, and they did not treat Jimmy well. Jimmy bounced.
I've applied to APTA jobs 6 times. I have had 0 interviews. I don't mind striking out.
Oh, they think your microphone's too hot. You're just too loud.
I have no idea.
It's got to be something. It's got to be something.
I'm not throwing them under the bus, but I'm also not hiding that I've tried to do it.
I am.
You can, Dave. That's Dave. Dave's throwing them out. I'm not throwing them under the bus, but I've applied. I've done that. I've not tried to call people that I know. I've asked, like, do you think I'd be a good fit for this? And I've been told you should apply. So I did 6 times in the last few years. 0 interviews. That's okay.
So John in the comments said you're describing a PTA.
No, a PTA is licensed.
Yeah.
PTA is licensed.
No, but he's saying PTAA. Like, I'm assuming this is like
an assistant.
Assistant to the regional manager, not assistant.
That's it.
Look, any one of us. Jimmy, I think you had this experience. Dave, I don't remember if you did. I was an aide. I worked in a PT clinic. I had my CSCS through NASM. I had a bachelor's degree in kinesiology. Like, patients were requesting to work with me. I did a good job. I was more than knowledgeable. I was more than skillful. I was capable of doing what needed to be done. It should never have been billed to insurance, but that's the model we lived in back then,
Right.
you know. But the fact is, we are ignoring the reality that we have potential access to a huge community of young individuals who are amazing and intelligent and smart and just don't want to sit in a 7-year program to come out and make $82,000 a year.
And maybe some of them would. Maybe out of 100 of those people that position that you're describing would say, yes, I would like to go further. Instead of all of them, 100 of them doing it, and 73 of them leaving the profession within the first 6 years. Maybe we need to fight club it a little bit. And to answer Scott questions, I don't think the APTA needs a face. I don't think it needs a mascot. I think it needs more faces, though. My first thing at APTA would be to do what they do for like APTA Magazine, which I think is a good resource. It's produced third party, by the way, or I think mostly third party, which is how do you show the many faces of APTA? That's what I'd be excited about. I wouldn't make it the Jimmy Show. I'd be wanting to stand on street corners and show off physical therapists, members or not, by the way, because there's no such thing. There's only two types of people. There's APTA members and there's potential APTA members. There's no non-members.
I want to see Jimmy standing on the street corner. That's what
Yes. Well, I told you that.
Come down to New York City. Let's do it, baby.
We had that idea, right? Like, why wouldn't you do this in Times Square?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you have asked the physical therapist? And it would be great if 80% of the people was like, I don't really know what a PT is. Great, can't wait to explain it to you.
So the whole day we'd be frustrated.
I know, but if that's the first problem, then you need to address it. You can't just skip to the next part. Like, you have the first part of solving a problem is identifying it and admitting you have it. And I don't think we've done that yet.
All right, let's round out the show. There was a comment. Oh, so Dave Kittle put in the comments, and think about parting shots. Dave Kittle put in the comments that he thought it was around $109. It's going to be state specific. It's going to be procedure code specific. If you're doing neuro re-ed and activity, yes, the potential is to get it up there. If you're dollar cost averaging across the entire episode of care, so like an evaluation, I do an evaluation, I bill an evaluation code, I bill 2 or 3 treatment codes. My average will be higher if I have a short 3-visit plan of care. But a lot of the therapists that I know that are seeing more complex cases, they're going 36 visits, 52 visits. They're going really long. Every additional visit drops your average. I shared in the Medicare group, like, this is what it actually is. You account for sequestration, MPPR reductions, everything else, including the secondary reimbursement. I average about $92 for a normal 4-unit Medicare visit. All right. That being said, go ahead, Jimmy.
I was going to say, if the things that we're saying are making you mad, ask why. Is it because it's questioning or challenging the way you're actually operating now? Because the world doesn't care what you want or how. Like, again, I'm all for advocacy, but Tony has sort of like shown me the way. Dave has shown me the way. Like, arguing for not a 3% cut isn't going to change how you operate, right? Like, losing less isn't going to do it. That's not going to, most likely, I'll go on record here. I'm going to make a bold prediction. It's not going to go into the positive. It's not going to go green and they start giving you more money. So you either operate differently or continue to bitch about it and get nothing, or change. There's always that option.
Yeah.
Change is the only way.
So parting shot. I mean, we are still surrounded by a ridiculous amount of opportunity. We talked about EMRs. You know, if you have amazing ideas for what an EMR could do, should do, would do, there are EMR startups that are still happening right now. You know, like, get out there, make connections, go talk to some of these founders that are looking for people like you. I noticed, and I'm not going to say it, I intentionally didn't say a single EMR name. But I know there's an EMR right now that's growing really fast that has a legitimate PT. I'm not going to say as the face of the company, but he's involved with everything this company does. I think that's amazing. I would love to hear more about what he's doing in his story. There's opportunities to teach other individuals they're going to open these businesses, whether we're involved or not.
Correct.
My friend who has no college degree, no healthcare experience, never ran a business, took my advice, started a non-medical companion care. Now, again, $40 an hour, no regulation, no supervision, hiring staff, growing the website. That was in less than 12 months, went from nothing to what she's got in less than 12 months. We can have a part of that. We can be the educators. We can be the advisors. Even if we don't want the liability of hiring these individuals, which I don't want to hire a unlicensed, non-skilled individual, but I'm happy to help them build and grow their business. And then I can send my people to them. Like that is where we have more upside potential than selling time for dollars, selling units of time, any of that kind of stuff. That's my parting shot.
Parting shot. I just want to say again, thanks for everyone joining live. David, Sam Kellicates, John Smorrell. I asked how to pronounce your name. I hope I hit it. If not, let me know. Scott and Dan Vapney.
Jimmy.
I would say, are you in 5 years, in less than 5 years, in 2 to 3 years, are you going to be mad that someone else did it, or are you going to be mad they did it better than you? I'm going to be mad. I think you're going to be mad that they did it, and you could have done it, and you could have done it earlier, and you had the skills, and that you didn't. Talking about all the things that we're talking about in terms of designing. We're talking about it. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Are you going to design it? In terms of classes, things like Orange Theory, Shred 415, Nike Strength that we've talked about, Rumble, Stretch Lab, it's sitting there. You could be mad about it, or you can build a better version of it, or just market it better, because we know typically people don't buy the thing that's the best. They buy the thing they're most familiar with. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a good weekend, and thanks for sticking around.